she wanted to be a mother, right? And it was very important for her. She said, everything else in life can wait. I always wanted to be a mother.
If somebody told me you drink sheep's urine, you'll get pregnant. If you stand upside down for 14 hours a day, you'll get pregnant. I would have done it. What happened post-delivery was it suddenly my pulse rate dropped very quickly and I almost went into cardiac arrest, so I crashed.
They came out and they said, we're sorry.
He was there when I was on life support. He stood there and watched me even when they told him that I will not make it.
It was an arranged marriage, so the horoscopes were matched, and she used to live in Dubai. She was born and bred there, and I was an absolute Bangalore boy. So we went, typical style of what happens in the south. We go to see the girl, we saw, I liked her, she liked me, and we got married. So the third time I met her was at the wedding hall.
So I think the whole getting to know process happened post our wedding, and our story has been so, I think bigger than an adventure. It's been rocky and then smooth and then happy and then exciting and then rocky again. So we've stuck through it for 15 years now.
We kind of always wanted to have kids right from the beginning. So we got married in 2009. 2010 she conceived. We lost the baby in the first trimester. Then she conceived again, and then we lost the baby in the 4th month. And we were wondering what was going on, so we went for a regular routine checkup. They tested the fallopian tube, it was all okay. The only issue was when the doctor kind of put her back, she left 2 pieces of gauze inside and her entire tube had been infected. Instead of taking the tube out, the next doctor actually left the tube inside. And thankfully we had a CD recording of the second operation, and that's when the doctor kind of called us back in about 24 hours and said, you know what, there has been a lot of medical negligence and there's a lot of trauma inside your system.
I couldn't wrap my brain around what was happening. I had practically I was living like a robot.
So he took her into the operation theatre. They actually had to break each and every piece of that ovary, and they couldn't save it. We said, let's give it some time, let's not rush into having a baby, etc. But she wanted to be a mother, right? It was very important for her. She said, everything else in life can wait. I always wanted to be a mother.
I think I was in that mental state where if somebody told me you drink sheep's urine, you'll get pregnant. If you stand upside down for 14 hours a day, you'll get pregnant. I would have done it.
As much as I didn't want to do it, she convinced me that everybody is doing an IVF and it's not really that bad, and that there is certain technology to help us have a child. So we went in for our first IVF round, and she conceived in the first shot.
It was all going great. So I was told that this is a good pregnancy, this is going well for you. And then in the most super fast speed that it went downhill and it started unraveling, for me that was the most, I think, scary part.
The doctor came out and said, you know what, Vinod, you may have to take a call. I didn't have any guarantee that Sandhya would survive, right? So for me, it was more Sandhya's health and keeping her alive that was more important than the baby's inside. And by the time it was already nearing the 7th month, so she couldn't technically abort the child, right? So she had to deliver the child normally.
I went into 15 hours of labor and I had a cord prolapse. So the umbilical cord actually snapped, and after which my placenta tore. But what happened post-delivery was it suddenly my pulse rate dropped very quickly and I almost went into cardiac arrest, so I crashed. So they had to defib me and I was out. I had gone it was over for me.
All I could hear was pulse nahi mil raha hai. So I didn't know what was happening, and they came out and they said, we're sorry. I said, what does this mean? What happened? So she said, no, medically she's declared dead, right? Which basically means that her pulse is very, very low. It was, I think, 8 or 9 or something, and they said, we'll just hope for the best. Those 36 hours, 48 hours, whatever it was, 2-3 days was just crazy. There was nothing in my head. People would come talk to me. I didn't register anything. I was just blank.
He has seen me in the delivery room, in the labor room, bleeding profusely, like sheets and sheets of blood going. I lost my entire body volume in blood. That's the situation I was in, but he was there. He was there when I was on life support. He stood there and watched me, even when they told him that I will not make it. They actually called him and told him, you know what, she's in a very fragile situation. Call the priest, call your family members, let them come and see her for the last time. It takes a lot of guts and courage to stick by and say, you know what, I'm going to be there for you and I'm going to do this with you, to bring you back home alive.
They said, medically she'll get better fast. It's just the physical stress that you've got to take care of. And I said, what do you want to do? So she said, I want ice cream, right? Her hands were like, someone had pumped some balloon air into it. It was all bloated and all of that. And actually drove her down from the hospital to an ice cream parlor and actually had to feed her ice cream. And and then life went on. She's a very, very strong woman, as you can see.
I'm a fighter. I've always been a warrior. And I fought back and I said, you know what, there's a lot more to do in life. This is not what I was meant. I'm not going to give up so easily.
I think the first 18 months after that was, there's a lot of support that everybody kind of extended, but somewhere I had not yet, I didn't know how to show it. So I would go into the bathroom and, try and cry, but nothing would come out. Minute I came out, I had to look happy for her. I had to look, absolutely cool for everybody else, and be strong, right? So small things would trigger emotions. We would be pushing a cart. She'll see some pamper poster or something in some mall, and or she'll see a baby, and it'll suddenly break down and all of that. I think painting for her was a big way of kind of calming down, and the only thing I could probably do was to encourage her to paint more and more.
I never give up hope. Even in that situation where I was in, I never gave up hope, and probably I was fighting my own battle inside.
I don't think we've ever spoken about adoption at home during this entire phase. And I came home, we sat on the dining table. I said, you want to have a child? She said, yes. I said, it doesn't matter where it is from. She said, what do you mean? I said, let's adopt. And, I believe you mean, when I say this, all that trauma that I saw in her eyes for those 10, 12 months, with just that one thing of saying, let us adopt, I think she slept like a baby that night.
I don't know whom he spoke to or the kind of people he spoke to, but I think he had enough information in his hand and enough convincing that he went ahead and did what he did.
And we immediately opened up the laptop, got into the Kara system, filled up all the forms and whatever that had to be filled in, and submitted.
I think there was some purpose to my life. I feel like that when I went and saw her, and it was a long wait, it was 24 months. I remember the butterflies in my stomach before they brought her down, and this is your baby, right? She's yours. You're going to be her person.
पहले जो लोग आते थे घर पे, they would say, क्या बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है? Try करो ना, हो जाएगा. भगवान को मानो, ये करो, वो करो, all of that. जब बच्चा घर आया तो they said, अरे don't worry, अभी तो आपका खुद का होगा. So I would just laugh it off. I don't really think we're very, very basic parents. Okay, we are not your new age gentle parenting, nor are we whacking our kids for no reason. But I think what we both want for our children, Madhav is just come in, but what we've always wanted for Rukmini at least is for her to be a good human being. What we've also consciously done with Rukmini, and we want to follow it with Madhav, is to be very honest and truthful. So if you actually ask Rukmini where you came from, she'll say, I came from my mother's heart and not from my mother's tummy.
Our friends used to tease us that if you have a baby, what are you going to do when it poops? And he used to be like, I will cling wrap the baby and just take out the cling wrap and throw it. He is somebody, I was shocked. I have seen him pick up poop from the floor with his hands. He did it.
So does it make your relationship stronger?
No, it doesn't. It takes a while. It's learning actually more than anything. You learn about your relationship. You don't fall in love over and over again. You just have more respect for that person because of the amount of work that they put in this. There is no obligation. It's very easy for your husband or your partner to just lift his hands up and say, I don't want to do this. That's a choice they make. But if someone chooses to be there standing there in the middle of the night to make that formula and to hold the baby and to stay up, that means they willingly want to be part of this, which is love language, which is today's generation. What's your love language? My actions are my love language. I don't have to say it 100,000 times or show you PDA, but